Peace be unto thee. I am come this day in the fullness of our Father's love to pour out the vibratory action of that love upon the earth, to give to elemental life the compassion which our Father desires to manifest in all of his holy mountain. I come today not only in tangible form, but I also come in the radiance of the sun. I come in the smiling faces of the flowers. I come in the light of the eyes of the children of men. There are those who would confine me only to form. But I am the formless Christ, and yet I do indeed manifest in form. Did I not say, I ascend unto my God and unto your God? Beloved ones, ye are yet my disciples, if ye keep my commandments and love one another. I am speaking to you this morning concerning form and formlessness for just a moment. I wish to emphasize this, for I am in you, and ye are in me. I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. Through the great spiritual interchange of energy, all life is one, and so it is intended to be. The word, in my Father's house are many mansions, is a word of spiritual instruction and truth. This morning I choose to enlighten you still further concerning those mansions of light which are a part of our Father's kingdom. Beloved ones, let peace flood your hearts this morning. Let understanding be born anew within the force field of your being. Limit not yourselves to the present hour, neither limit yourselves to the present place, for I am here and I am there, and your own mighty divine self, the star of your being, the angel of your presence, is everywhere in spiritual manifestation. You are in the heart of a flower. You are in the heart of your brother. You are in the heart of all beings upon this planet. You are in the heart of all beings upon all systems of worlds. The golden strands of the splendid universal intelligence connect all life, making of one great cosmic sphere many spheres placed within one another, interpenetrating substance and form. Upon this planet, men are scattered abroad as nodding grains of wheat in the wheat fields, ripe and ready for the harvest. The heads of mankind the world around are nodding gently in the wind. They absorb the sun of the presence. They come to fruition as ripened grain. The fields are truly white to the harvest. Beloved ones, there have been so few whose dedication to holy orders has been of a specific nature of spiritual integrity that enabled us to utilize their life streams to the fullest advantage. And therefore the words, "Feed my lambs, feed my lambs, feed my lambs," was spoken to my disciples and my apostles, that they might go forth in that age and dispensation and teach mankind to love one another. Love, divine love, while it is everywhere, as is the air you breathe, is so frequently not recognized even by the lungs which take it in, by the body and form which it sustains, and by the being whose economy of life it provides. O blessed ones, be grateful then for the wind, for the sun, for nature. Be grateful for one another. The word of God, spoken of old, "It is not good that man should be alone," referred to the factor that it is not good for a manifestation of God to be alone, and therefore God has created many sons, many daughters, myriad beings in the house of our Father. It has been desirable, because of the immensity of universal substance and light, to conceal from mankind the vastness of all these conditions, the realms afar in insular space, because mankind can scarce grasp the number of grains of sand in an hourglass, let alone the sand by the sea. For them to consider worlds and spheres of light in infinite number is often difficult for the comprehension of their being, and therefore we have tempered the multifaceted light rays of existence to provide in many cases only a few central foci, whereby mankind can understand the nature of their own spiritual self. But they are a grail. They are a chalice beholding. They are most precious. Mankind, by reason of the densities of nature, created by human thought and feeling, so frequently do not have even an iota of a thought concerning the true nature of themselves. They do not recognize that they are the earth. How can they recognize that they are the solar system? Those that recognize that they are the solar system do not recognize that they are a galaxy. And those that recognize that they are a galaxy do not recognize that they are universal substance. And they know not the structure of the astronomical universe. We have desired then to temper these concepts to the smallness of the cup. And while we have poured out our love upon mankind and have lavishly instructed them through the ages with divine truth, it has run over the cup of their being and flooded forth in poetic expressions. It has flooded forth as divine love and drawn hearts together. It has brought about a welding of the tribal systems of the worlds in past history. It has brought about a welding together of the nations it is sought to bring about upon this earth a welding together of the family of nations until the word would be fulfilled. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, beloved ones, the way, the truth, and the life of being, if properly understood, would solve mankind's problems as nothing else could. All of these outer conditions which distress mankind, problems of inharmony, wrong thought and feeling, greed and outer conditions, would disappear in the light of our Father's opulence. How could men cast aspersions upon a brother prince of their own house of light? How could a princess cast aspersions upon her sister princess? How could a king cast aspersions upon one who also ruled a kingdom? Mankind, in their sense of gradation and differences, have limited themselves so extensively. They have failed to apprehend the wonders of God's love that confers upon the tiniest grain of sand the crystal patterns of a universe, locks within the heart of an atom the solar system, and blazes divine radiance everywhere, healing light, sustaining light, purifying light, crystal clear light. All of these are the chaliced presentations of divinity to mankind. Each part was intended to reflect the radiance of the sun. And as the sun, in its turning through the cycles of being, touches each one with the fire of life, it is intended to be illuminated, to spring to splendid reality. This reality is so faintly dimmed by reason of mankind's limited expressions of their true identity, and therefore I taught them these words, which I ask you to repeat with me according to my direction this morning. I am the way.
I am the way.
I am the truth.
I am the truth.
And I am the life.
And I am the life.
I am the resurrection.
I am the resurrection.
I am the ascension in the light.
I am the ascension in the light.
I am the fullness of all my needs and requirements of the hour.
I am the fullness of all my needs and requirements of the hour.
I am abundant supply poured out upon all life.
I am abundant supply poured out upon all life.
I am perfect sight and hearing.
I am perfect sight and hearing.
I am the manifest perfection of being.
I am the manifest perfection of being.
I am the illimitable light of God made manifest everywhere.
I am the illimitable light of God made manifest everywhere.
I am the light of the Holy of Holies.
I am the light of the Holy of Holies.
I am a son of God.
I am a son of God.
I am the light of God in the holy mountain of God.
I am the light of God in the holy mountain of God.
The Son of Righteousness is arisen with healing in his wings. O angel beings of infinite light, who came in answer to my call in Gethsemane's garden long ago, bring to these blessed souls, still crucified in matter and form, the awareness of the infinity of their being. Adorn them now with the immortal crown of victorious hope, that they may look to their presence for divinity, outpoured upon them, look to their presence for the power to accept its gifts, to expand the cup of their consciousness, that they may drink as I did the fullness of the cup of life's experiences, and arise victorious in arms of light, to behold the I am presence, the glory of God, which I had with thee before the world was. May they all find their way back home, as sheep upon the mountainside seeking pasture. They are spaced apart. Some graze around the lowlands of the mountain. Some graze a part of the way up the mountain, and some are right at the very peak and pinnacle of the summit of the holy mountain. Let none despise the other. Let all be brothers and live together in harmonium. Let the world then find its freedom in the Christ of each man's own life. Let all religions teach and express this truth free from strife. I stood afar off in form sense, but near in presence this morning, and heard the melodies played from this place. The strife is o'er, and my thought moved with your thought. I heard the silent longings of the souls of those here who are such devotees of truth as to be their brother's keeper. And I yearn then to express to you my gratitude for those feelings, for the invocations made to deity, and for the faith you hold that God will yet assuage the grief of men and wipe the tears from their eye. Beloved ones, even as I am speaking to you, the world is yet full of strife and pain. There are bodies racked on beds, suffering greater agonies by far than my crucifixion. There are individuals today suffering mental agonies and tortures far beyond any feeling that might have come to me as I knelt in Gethsemane. Mankind today feel the thorns and pressures of life far more keenly and acutely than I did. The cross burden which rests upon the back of humanity is far heavier than that which I bore. And therefore I remind you of this, for I have the power of light to assess and to judge whether these things be so. And I tell you truly, that which mankind bears is far greater than that which I bore. And therefore I come this morning to remind you of that you may recognize that these too are potential Christs and manifestations of the infinite light. Think you, when the spiritual matrix from which I was created was formed by God, that he did not also draw them from the self-same matrix of being? They too, beloved ones, were formed in the self-same hope and were born of the same flame, substance of substance, life of life, light and light and light and light. All of this, beloved ones, was a manifestation that passed through the spheres and orbs of infinity into outer manifest expression. Why then shall this which is God-life be frozen in form and be dominated by oppression when I am free? I am free in the ascension, but I am not satisfied to remain here in the spirit of beauty and purity without extending to my brothers here upon this planet the depth of my love, the infinite feeling which I have for all life. Therefore I come this Easter commemorative morn to speak to your hearts of the need of world unity, of the need of personal integrity, of the need of absolute honesty, of the need of moral understanding in human sociological affairs, of the need for the relaxation of international tensions, of the need for the nations of the world to frame their constitutions in accordance with the golden rule, of the need for more spiritual schools to be established where men will be taught the truths of life, that as they come forth upon the screen of life so madly, so quickly, passing from childhood to adulthood so rapidly, and absorbing the imperfections of life from those they meet, and then swiftly passing out again into the realm where they await once again the gift of life. I hope that mankind will appreciate the need to teach them, to feed my lambs, that in their swift passing they will not be neglected as they have been. Centuries have passed, so-called dark ages, wherein but a few kept alive the flame of divinity in the teachings which I gave to the people upon the hillside. Today, as I am speaking to you, I am holding a vision of a mountain summit and of all of the people of this world gathered around me. I am holding a vision of their hands extended toward the light from on high, reaching up hopefully, their faces expressing their hopes. Some of them expressing frustration, some of them weeping with tears pouring down their cheeks, some of them expressing ecstatic spiritual happiness, others expressing boredom with life, but all expressing some quality of human emotions or of divine emotions, aspiring at periodic episodes in their life. The flame of hope is kept alive in their hearts, and yet you are here. In this room this morning are many guardian spirits. Some of you were with me upon the planet Venus. Some of you have stood with me at inner levels and taken vows with me to set this earth free. The spirit of dedication, the burning fervor that now floods into your soul then, is a reminder from on high of those solemn vows which you took to set this earth free and to direct mankind back to the heart of God. Beloved ones, those rebellious spirits and individuals who in their intellectualism, agnosticism, and atheism deny even the existence of God or question it, they are also born of the sacred fire. They are potential Christs as I am. They sleep the sleep of centuries, the lethargy of the ages. They pass out of embodiment, oftentimes entering into worlds of astral horror created by themselves. Suffering, misery, and crucifixion is their lot. How long, then, is the fiat of the Holy One? How long shall the infinite Spirit of life remain long-suffering with this outer condition? Beloved ones, we have not been idle. The Spirit of life has not been idle. Every attempt has been made to cut the earth free. But the great cosmic law of life experiences, the chain of command that connects our acts with the great cosmic law, must be obeyed. It cannot be set aside. Many facets of the law have been altered in mercy to bring in more people to the glorious ritual and initiation of their ascension. But it is not enough. And therefore I speak to those guardian spirits that are among you, urging you to make of your life a mission for the world. Of what better use can you put those priceless energies that God has given to you? And if you fail in this embodiment to complete it all, and you make your ascension in the light, you may serve our band and the earth as well. If you do not, you may return, beloved ones, to continue rendering a service here and completing your ascension in the next embodiment. There are a certain number here in this room and within the hearing of my voice who will not make their ascension because they have taken a vow at inner levels that they did not wish to take it. They shall and will make their ascension in their next embodiment. This has been promised them by the lords of karma. There is, of course, always the need for them to maintain their will connected directly with the heart of their presence to perform it. For even the karmic board, when they make an edict, expect the life stream to do their part in order to make their ascension, to complete those initiations given to them by cosmic law. This is what causes individuals to frequently become confused by some of our statements and our acts. It is human free will. Beloved ones, all gifts and graces bestowed upon man from God are intended to be immediate. Mankind do not always recognize them, and I know of many cases where priceless spiritual gifts remained in the aura of a life stream for 3 embodiments before they came into manifestation. And yet, the day they were given, they could have manifested if the blessed soul would but have accepted that gift, regardless of outer appearances. I speak momentarily now upon the mansions of God. Many of you have pondered and wondered concerning other worlds and systems of worlds. You have been concerned with these other worlds and systems of worlds. in our Father's house, in those other mansions of light. I want you to know that there are in existence now, and have been in past cosmic history, many planets with an evolution similar to this one. The drama of the Christ, which I played in Galilee long ago, has been played out on many a beauteous star. In the ultimate end of each history has been the freeing of the people of the planet. And therefore, as we gaze with cosmic vision upon the beauteous perfection of God in the cosmic chain of worlds without end, we see the end from the beginning, and we behold as a star of radiant hope the manifestation of the ultimate, and then we transcend that ultimate. Beloved ones, the earth shall be free, I promise you, for the earth is intended to be free, and the divine intent shall manifest. But, beloved ones, it may be necessary for a great deal of experience to be brought about. How much it is difficult even for the ascended masters to say, for human beings do not always react as we intend them to do. This is most unfortunate, for they do not act as God intends either. Beloved ones, the hour is now at hand when this earth shall be stepped up to another degree of initiation to the planet. The people here upon this planet must keep pace with that initiation, or else the results of that cosmic light outpoured will manifest a release of karma at a much greater level than has hitherto been possible. This means that more karma will return for balancing to them, because the process will be moved forward. In all of the dramas on other systems of worlds, this has occurred, and eventually the laggards on that system of worlds have been removed, and another star has been host to them, as was this blessed earth. We do not intend to continually permit the laggards to drag down the spiritual evolutions of this planet, and therefore it has been decreed that if this continues unbroken for a certain period of time, the laggards themselves that remain here shall be removed elsewhere, and by cosmic fiat the earth shall be free. O Vesta, O Helios, O infinite light of God without fail, the crucifixion and pain of this earth has been long. Descend now then in thy glorious light, and vest all the earth with the brightness of thy coming. Let each one's heart expand and swell with pride in their cosmic birthright. Let all expand the flame of God upon their forehead, the I am presence of being rising toward victorious height. Let all expand their light. Let all expand their light. O beloved ones, the hour of victory comes to the earth, the hour when the crown of victory shall descend upon the brow of those who have been faithful, and of all those who shall accept the faith in their own divinity, the faith in their own identity, the faith in their own reality, the faith in the reality of the life spark, the life force, the mighty I am presence that sustains them individually and sustains all life collectively. All of the worlds that have passed through this crucifying situation of this earth send their love now to the planet Earth, all those that have attained their victory, and the people that have ascended from those planets. Now join me in a ritual of blessing to those hearts and flaming identities of light who long to express the pure white radiance of eternal being. O God, enfold them all within a mantle of thy eternal presence. Let them know compassion such as thou hast with me. O God, let them know love such as thou hast with me. O God, let them know the smile of the eternal presence such as thou hast with me. Ye call me friend, and so I am. I call you friend, so be it. In God's holy name, I am. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the age. I come in transmuting love. May that love never depart from your blessed hearts, and may you never depart from its radiance. Thank you, and good morning. O mankind, I am come tonight with the spirit of wholeness, light, and truth, to develop a sense of a permanent benediction within your four lower bodies. Your physical body, beloved ones, has a memory of its own. Beloved ones, your feeling body has a memory of its own. Man does not realize or recognize the presence of the divine memory within the strata of consciousness. Layer upon layer, as coral reef builds islands from out of the sea, the memories of mankind pile, little minute essences of the substance of life, condensed and densified to form islands of being, human densities, expressing at times the unreasoning attitudes of human creation and chaos. Whilst all this is going on, the most beautiful and pure radiance of divine being stands as a mother over every life stream, hallowing that life stream with the blessings of the Father of life. I am come this night in a desire to cut you free from human creation, in a desire to give you the assistance of the Devic evolutions, bearing a torch of sacred fire. I touch the domed atmosphere directly overhead. For long before I came, there was created by the Devas and builders of form a beautiful dome similar to the Capitol dome in this city, except that it is made like unto a glass dome, the color of green, but an opalescent green, the blendings of the crystal milk white with the pale shades of green, darkening to a deeper hue. All of this, beloved ones, resembles the jade radiance which I ensoul. What is this sparkling quality, beloved ones? What is this sparkling radiance then that floods the atmosphere? What is the fluidity of this substance, like unto the inrushing of the sea? The spray foam dashes over the souls of men in the desire to wash them with the purity of God's love. Let then the substance of immortal jade roll across your being. It is indeed a purifying substance, and I am so fortunate to be chosen from the Devic evolution to bear a chaliced vehicle ensouling the quality of jade. Beloved ones, I offer you this quality of purification this night as a benediction to the service of El Morya, to the service of Saint Germain, to the service of each one of you, for you have loved. You love, and you shall love more. In the stepped-up tempo of that radiance, you will find the need for purification. For only by loving more can you find purity, and only by finding purity can you love more. You must purify then those concepts of being which you have held in the past, which have admitted to the causes of error. And you must recognize that there is no other cause acting except the divine cause, for we recognize naught else except the crystal pure light of God as it flows forth from the throne, a river of immaculate light substance, an eternal ocean the mariners of God ply this sea, bearing gifts to mankind. The angel Devas descend to the human octave and bear with them the priceless gifts of spiritual substance. My words as I speak to you are cups of light, and as I am speaking to you, each word that I speak is a musical note at inner levels, and a full orchestration of heaven is born here for the blessing of your immortal being. Truth, beloved ones, is stranger than fiction has been said by mankind, and I am sure that you will recognize this truth as manifesting here. The ascended Masters desire in my benediction that I shall bring to you an understanding of the unfolding of the lilies of the field that toil not, that spin not, that are arrayed in a glory greater than the glory of Solomon. Beloved ones, there is great beauty in these lilies, and I know, for I have spoken with the specific Devas who have ensouled these very flowers here gracing your altar. Their perfumed essences are breathing into space, and as you inhale this substance, it reminds you of immortality. Immortality is sweet. Beloved ones, it is sweet to us as it is to you, and it is especially sweet to mankind who desire so much to reverse the curse of the Adamic race and find their full restoration in the Christ consciousness. My benediction tonight is connected with the trumpeting of these lilies. Notice, beloved ones, how they seem to be a trumpet. Recall the words that Gabriel should sound his trumpet, and the dead should be raised. Beloved ones, man have seemed to reflect the death of human consciousness. They have admitted to a sense of a loss of life and hope. Agnosticism, false intellectualism, and pride have held sway in human consciousness, and these lilies speak to mankind of the glory of resurrection, a resurgence when the energies of man shall be more nearly aligned with the perfection of God and the energies thereof. And the angel was given a rod to measure the temple. Beloved ones, the rod of co-measurement, as spoken of by Morya to his chelas in years gone by, is a wise rule those specific individuals who will make their ascension in this day and age, and at the close of their embodiment, will be individuals who have practiced the rule of co-measurement. The trumpeting of the resurrection shall sound for them. The trumpeting of the ascension shall sound for them. The trumpeting of transfiguration shall sound for them. These sequences in the life of Christ I bring to you in living light. I am the transfiguration in the light. I am the resurrection in the light. I am the ascension in the light. In the holy name of God, O people of America and North America, awake, arise, throw off the lethargy from your consciousness. Experience transfiguration in your world. As I come to you tonight, neath this canopy, dome of jade, I desire to penetrate your forms with that substance, to let you feel the freeing power of spiritual jade as it manifests here, for you, for your freedom, for your peace. I shall pause, and during this period of silence, the angels, neath my care and administration, shall descend to meet you as you ascend in consciousness to meet them. They shall blaze through your four lower bodies the substance of jade for the purification of your world, and no greater benediction can be given, for this is the most purifying substance known to man. The radiation of it is exquisite, lovely, beyond compare. Accept it in the name of freedom. A great warmth penetrates your form. Do not be alarmed concerning this warmth. It is merely the purifying fires of the jade substance penetrating your form in order to assist you in holding the immaculate concept, in order to remove unwanted thoughts, feelings, and desires from your being, and to make you more godlike. For this purpose I came. It is now achieved by the radiation of God's eternal substance, which I am. It is finished. Thank you, and good evening. privileges are incomparable. The love of the Masters go with you this night, each one of you. These great beings, so gentle and powerful. Can we say, "O God, you are so magnificent," 9 times? O God, thou art so magnificent. 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 May all the blessings of the Darjeeling Council of Goodwill rest upon you from the heart of our beloved El Morya, from his wondrous retreat at Darjeeling, from the snow-capped Himalayas, from the pines surrounding his beautiful retreat, from the brothers within, from the radiance and warmth of their heart, from the love of the great white Brotherhood, from our beloved Saint Germain, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Jesus, the great divine director, and all who serve, including the great angel Deva of the Jade Temple. And may the love of the staff of the Summit Lighthouse, your brothers and sisters here below, pilgrims on the path with each and every one of you, go with you. I bring you greetings from the Brotherhood at Darjeeling. I enfolded you tonight during the playing of this music with the immortal flame of goodwill to which your hearts are so dedicated. And I desire tonight to make known to you the wonders of immortal love manifesting in the flame of goodwill. The karmic lash has seemed to be most severe to mankind, and I find people constantly rebel at the necessity of correction. I was observing during the time the comments were made concerning my personality as Sir Thomas More. Beloved ones, while I do not advocate in this age specific qualities of flagellation, I do advocate necessary self-correction, which will make of every man a man of God. I do advocate, whether individuals be embodied in a male or female body, those disciplines of the Spirit calculated to evoke a luster upon the immortal soul consciousness, manifesting in that specific expression of divinity. Moses declared to the children of Israel, "Behold, ye are gods." I say to you today, as he declared then, ye are not only gods in the sense that you belong to him, but you are also gods in the full momentum of a divine being. You are divine. No other possible interpretation can be given to life. And as I listen to the murmurs of your hearts, I cannot help but feel that you are alive. And in that beating, I sense a wave of divine love poured out to me tonight, and therefore I feel that perhaps my austerity is not too offensive to you, but that you choose to accept the truth for the truth's own sake, to love and honor God for God's own sake, and to be honest men and women in an age when this condition is not too popular. Beloved ones, the desire of mankind to win friends and influence people has caused them to seek human counsel when they might well have found out how to win friends in heaven and to influence those spiritual magistrates who can only examine the record with an impartial eye and note thereupon each specific quality of service which individuals have made on behalf of the never-failing cosmic light, which has made the corners of existence brighter for millions of people. Individuals today frequently feel a sense of self-import which does not curry for them favor in heavenly quarters. The Divine One is not to be regarded in the human sense. You do not need to seek favor with God in a manner of a human being wooing favor from another human being. Divine favor is bestowed by acceptance of the comfortable will of God as the radiating quality of your own life stream. Now, beloved ones, in the holy name of truth presented in a crystal clear fashion, how could it be otherwise? If a crystal clear prism, as the goddess of light told you this afternoon, is presented to you, it can but divide the pure light rays into those complementary colors which compose the spectrum. Truth, beloved ones, can only present to mankind God, for God is truth. Distortions occurring in the glass of human perceptions only produce confusion to those life streams thus misguided, without ever causing their footsteps to find the right path. The right path is really an easy path. For us, it is the easiest of all, for it represents a consistent manifestation of goodwill. If a quality does not pass the acid test of goodwill, reject it. If you cannot find in a specific idea which you have long embodied the quality of goodwill for your fellow men, it is human, reject it. If the qualities you express or you test cause you to find greater love for God and man, you know that you are moving in the right direction. In an age when hypocrisy is rampant, when mankind far too frequently feel the need to practice deception, I bring to you the glaring light of spiritual honesty. I have never sought to deceive the students of either this activity or any other activity in which I have been engaged. I have spoken fearlessly and without a desire to seek favor even from those chelas from whom I might have invoked it had I been more kindly according to their own ideas. But I have desired to express to them those specific qualities which I knew would lead them toward their own Christ accomplishment, a manifestation of their own victory, and the service of mankind. My brethren have done likewise. We have all, if you have listened to our words, sought to illumine you concerning the immortal truth of being. As chief of the Darjeeling Council, a title which I bear, I choose tonight to chalice my energies into this force field created here in Washington. You will understand that it is a gesture fashioned in the interest of freedom and in order to create an instrument of freedom for all mankind. Today, the world is in a state of conflict and unrest. Many crucial situations in the political world and the religious world exist. Situations of great tension. Fears are rampant in certain quarters. And this is because mankind have forgotten their source. The alleviation of all these fears, the release of all these tensions, the correction and solution of all these problems is our desire. Unfortunately, although we have in many cases secured the cooperation of the Holy Christ Self, of leaders of nations, whereby those individuals were taken to our retreat in Darjeeling and given a special course of instruction pertaining to administration of government in the name of truth and justice, those individuals have not always, upon the return to their physical body, carried out those edicts and suggestions which the brothers here in Darjeeling have so plainly made to them at inner levels. Unfortunately, some of the students have not either, and so conditions of stultification remain. We find a static condition existing quite frequently in many matters of government. I refer now specifically to the matter of a nuclear test ban, which has been for some time kicked around as a football upon the political field. It would seem to the mankind of earth as though no one wants it, and yet because of the decrees of the students they cannot cease to have their conferences, because the students have demanded that there be a nuclear test ban, and the great law is acted, and no one can understand why these council meetings continue, seeing there is no possibility of solution in view.
Well, beloved ones, this ought to alert you to the fact that your decrees are effective, but the question is, why is the solution not forthcoming? Beloved ones, have you ever thought of the fact that the decrees are not intense enough or specific enough? Has it ever occurred to you that there is yet not developed a great enough momentum? I make this suggestion because the nuclear test ban, if effective and properly manned, is a step in the right direction to avoid that destruction and chaos which occurred on Atlantis and other cities through the misuse of atomic power in ages past. Mankind today do not realize the fullness of the records of history as recorded in Akasha. Civilizations and cultures which have long ago gone down retained in their records many magnificent pieces of historical advice which would have been invaluable to historians today and to the world. Unfortunately, the continuity of history is broken by cataclysmic action. You have heard it said, and it is true, that in the record room of the Grand Teton, these ancient records remain on pages of gold. But, beloved ones, the average individual today is not able to leave their body and to travel, according to the instructions of beloved Leto, to the record room. Neither are they able to read the record, if the record were given into their hand. And therefore we, as your friends of light, ascended, find placed upon our shoulders the mantle whereby we must give you our advice and that information which will specifically cause the students to assist the hierarchy in the unfoldment of the divine plan for this planet. Mankind are frequently puzzled by the world situation. Let them no longer speculate upon the world situation as being an action which they can control completely. You have a specific right, the right to assert the authority for this earth. But you must remember, beloved ones, that there are millions upon this earth who do not think as you do. They are not interested in peace. They are not interested in goodwill, simply because they have been taught the arts of war, the arts of greed, the arts of confusion, and they deliberately foster confusion in the minds of mankind. They deliberately create the lie in order that they may deceive the millions of earth and manipulate them to their own pleasures. This is not the will of God, and they shall certainly reap their own reward. But this reward, beloved ones, is not something with which I would have you concerned. Far too frequently the students fall into the trap of the psychic forces, and they become angry because of some world situation. As they become angry with this world situation, they are feeding their energy in anger into that situation without correcting it. And the sinister seizes that energy and turns it back upon themselves in the same manner as many of the soldiers of the American armies were killed by the steel sold by America to other countries. Righteous indignation rising up in the hearts of men is often turned against those same men. And therefore I urge you to use caution in your feeling world, beloved students of the light. There is a way in which you can deflect those vibratory actions which mankind quite naturally feel. For, beloved ones, it is understandable that a certain indignation should seize your spirit as you recognize the difficult situations created by men of greed, by the money beast, and by other beasts which manipulate the consciousness of men. But, beloved ones, bear in mind that this is an impersonal action, that those individuals are wholly concerned with themselves, and that they abide in ignorance, in the abysmal ignorance of their being. They are charging forth these negatively qualified ideas and manipulating the world of form through those ideas and the energy of their being, and millions whom they subject to them through the power of slavery, mental slavery, hypnotism, and literal black magic. Well, beloved ones, it is our desire to end that. And the students, even in this room, have the power, if they will only recognize it, to assist us mightily in sweeping aside those political inequities which have far too long plagued society. One of the means that you can do it is not to become angry at what you read or see, but to recognize the moot and simple point that it is an inequity that requires correction, and that you, with the method and methodology of a surgeon, intend to excise this specific cancerous condition from the world body by the power of the violet flame and the power of your decrees. When you, with a Christed determination, determine to clean the money changers out of the temple of life, you will recognize that this must be done as an action of love. Divine love, beloved ones, as I charged it into this meeting just preceding my address, is a power of infinite light, and the light becomes intense. Mankind cannot stand against that great light, and therefore they are forced, beloved ones, to do the bidding of the spiritual body of the planet by an action of the great cosmic law when it acts correctly. When that law is wrongly used, the energy is deflected back upon the students themselves and does no service whatsoever to the light. And therefore, beloved students, watch the quality of your thoughts when you resist a condition which is undesirable. Observe the law in action, and I say this to you as a man of the first ray. Observe the law in action and recognize that a condition that is not Christ is acting. Then call upon the law of your own mighty I am presence, and call the presence into action to handle that situation. But, beloved ones, the call must be diligently made, and you must keep up the action of calling for the specific condition you wish corrected. And you must never, even for a moment, permit human feelings to ride into your consciousness and to impel you even to perform what seems a good act. For it is not a good act, beloved ones, if the human quality of anger is used in the administration of the corrective measure. I trust the students will see this subtle point and will understand the necessity of my bringing it to your attention, inasmuch as Saint Germain and others of the hierarchy are preparing battle lines of spiritual force and light to move militantly against those destructive and chaotic forces which have kept mankind through the centuries the slaves of their own worst natures rather than the servants and sons of their higher selves. Beloved ones, I trust you feel the sincerity of my heart as I speak to you, for there is a spiritual righteousness and wholeness in manifestation in our ray. I hope that those of you who bear such filial devotion to me as to call me Father Morya will come to Darjeeling, to our Palace of Light, will recognize that when you see me, I shall place my right hand upon your shoulder, and I may do so with somewhat a resounding smack, for I feel a great affection for all of you who have the forthrightness to stand up and be counted, rather than to sit back as one who merely passed by, a ghost, as it were, upon the screen of life. Some of you have seen on your television screens these ghost images. They do not make nearly as effective a manifestation as some of your horror stories. Well, beloved ones, I am not interested in a horror story. I am interested in a story of infinite beauty, whereby the Christ radiance of God comes into manifestation upon the earth in sane balance. For it is always a sane, balanced action of the law. There is no strange manifestation in the action of this law. There is no strange manifestation in righteousness. It is simply that mankind have for so long lived in unrighteousness that they cease and fail utterly to recognize righteousness when they see it. Beloved ones, the hour has come when the hierarchy are summoning by the trumpet of immortal life those specific lovers of God to holy service, that by this crusade of spiritual accomplishment mankind will throw back the discord of ages and exalt this planet into its victory. Do you think, beloved ones, that because it has not yet happened in this age of Kali Yuga, that the light shall not part the veil and bring to mankind that for which they have long called? Do you think, beloved ones, if someone steps from the screen of life, that they themselves are going to prevent the happenings of all eternity from occurring upon this planet? Simply because one individual is taken from the screen of life does not mean, beloved ones, that the progress of life is going to be stopped here. You, beloved ones, are important, each one of you. But remember, life was here before you were in mortal embodiment, and life will continue when you pass from the screen of life or are elevated into your ascension. It is the service between your coming into embodiment and the time you leave. It is the time you enter and the time you exit, the space in between which counts. And let your blows for Christ count, beloved ones, by applying yourselves to the fountain of divine wisdom and illumination, so that you will not make a stab in the dark, but that you will strike a blow in the holy name of light for the cause of righteousness, purity, and the kingdom of God. Beloved ones, St. Germain just stepped into the room and reminded me to say a word about the kingdom of God. Men have always hoped for a fairy prince or princess to appear and to transport them into a charmed circle of existence. And yet, the spiritual marriage, the alchemical marriage of man with his higher self, opens up the doorway into the kingdom of God. Each individual life, then, as they feel the tie with their own great outreaching, upreaching, and downreaching divinity, will find an assistance which has never come into their lives before. Beloved ones, it may seem strange to you that I should mention this, but I am. The divine union, the mystical marriage of man unto God, is a holy and priceless bond. The spiritual priesthood is open to all devotees of the light who are willing to make the specific step, which I do not call a sacrifice, for I believe that the greatest sacrifice anyone could make is to ignore their opportunities to enter the kingdom of heaven and play the fool, beloved ones, by eating the mess of pottage and despising their heavenly birthright. And mankind have done so through the ages. We do not gaze upon them with an idea of condemnation simply because they have done so. We do not gaze upon man with a sense of criticism. We gaze upon man with a sense of compassion. If I seem stern tonight, it is not so much sternness as it is love in action. The love that acts in me tonight is more intense than I have expressed to most of you in my past addresses. I am flooded with compassion as I see how many have struggled up the mountainside and are bruised and torn in the journey. I am constrained to give you a blessing tonight. I call then to my own great causal body. I call to the momentum of light that I have obtained, the priceless essences that God has vouchsafed to me. And I pray him in his holy name that he bestow upon you, each one, a special portion of that gift. I pray that he place a radiant diamond ray of light from my own causal body within the hearts of all of you here who respond to the vibratory action of my love. I pray that this specific quality and gift which I give to you then tonight be a propelling momentum, a priceless jewel of eternal immortal substance, which you will cherish within the soul of your being until the day that you depart these shores for those realms of celestial light. I pray that you shall not consider that this was a mere figment of human imagination. I pray that you will know that he whom you call great, that he whom you call El Morya, has come to you tonight as a child to wash your feet with God's will, with goodwill, to bestow upon each one of you the priceless love that God has given to me through my many embodiments, which has assisted me to my own ascension, for which I am eternally grateful. I pray that each one of you this holy Easter season be so chaliced in consciousness, so chaliced in spirit, so chaste in thought, that you shall be a vessel of angelic substance, that the spiritual host of immortality descend into your being, and that you recognize the presence of the living Christ in your world. Manifest then his body and substance in your being. Partake of his currents of life. They flow constantly in Darjeeling as a mighty river. They flow in every retreat of the great white Brotherhood. They are the glory of God, reflected in these lilies, reflected in the ideals of Christ's consciousness. They are the true flower of knighthood. They are all nobility, as expressed by Saint Germain. O beloved Saint Germain, my brother and friend of freedom, how art thou come this night? How art thou come in thy white robe, so radiant and bright? How art thou come with such love to pour out to these dearly beloved ones who desire to unite with their divine presence? Will you then, beloved ones, take this mighty divine presence of all life to be your own? If you will, say, I do.
I do.
Will you love, honor, and obey the edicts of this your own mighty I Am presence? The answer is, I do.
I do.
Then I now pronounce you one with God, one with his will, one with the heart of freedom. So be it until you stand in starry radiance in immortal spheres. So be it until the earth is free. So be it until Gautama is raised to his highest estate and relinquishes his office as Lord of the world. So be it until the mantle of Sanat Kumara and his star radiates the full blessing of beloved Venus upon this planet, acknowledged by all as the sister of the blessed people of earth. So be it until the earth is ascended. For God is one, and the drops of eternity are found in the present hour. Cherish them always. They are your life. O brothers of the diamond heart, flaming lives of good, fill the world of all mankind with thy flaming rood. Bless these ones, these sacred ones, who come to do thee homage. Raise them up and consecrate them to thy life in homage. Peace and grace to each one of you forever and forever and forever. I thank you and bid thee, one and all, the fondest of adieu until we meet in Darjeeling. Hail, thou wondrous perfection of the infinite grace of God. Hail, thou transcendent light unfailing. Hail, mankind, seeking to find the pathway back to God's heart. I am come this night to bring you the peace and blessings, the fragrance of the presence of reality into your world. Beloved ones, so many of you have served for so long the cause of freedom. You have considered yourselves a part of my band, that I desire first of all to bid you welcome, who have established a force field within your homes, dedicated and consecrated to me and to beloved Mother Mary. I wish to tell you tonight, even at this hour, that these shrines are a source of sustaining radiance to the heart of America. This nation does not know the debt that it owes to the students of the light who have constantly called forth protection from the very heart of God to the heart of America. Those who are presently in embodiment, who came over on the Mayflower and the sister ships, who have a greater than ordinary sense of the meaning of freedom, who would give, if necessary, their lives to sail to unknown shores in order to expand the cause of freedom and liberty, those who love liberty in a more than ordinary way. These are the dedicated life streams who today have embraced the cause of freedom, which I myself espoused so long ago. As I stand here today as your Knight Commander to address you, it is to request you to recognize that heaven pays you tribute for all that you have done for the light. This is not an unworthy situation at all, beloved ones. It is perfectly understandable. After all, beloved ones, you are as much a part of God here upon earth as we are, except that you do not always recognize it. And therefore, because you do not recognize it and pay allegiance temporarily to lesser conditions, there is quite naturally, by cosmic law, a manifestation of outer conditions of an untoward nature, which do not always smile so kindly upon you as you would have them, or favor you with all of the bounties and graces which life intends to bestow upon you. But inasmuch as you have resolved most highly to shed these conditions, to accept the transmuting power of the violet flame, to worship the Most High God with all of the summoning of energies of which you are capable, I am confident that a vast change is occurring constantly within you, that the sweeping and mighty winds of the Holy Spirit are purifying and cleansing the spiritual body of the keepers of the flame, until we shall see and perceive a mighty army of light, vigilant, diligent, and faithful to the cause of freedom. I expect then that we shall be able to channel into this chalice of light a more than ordinary momentum of spiritual power and grace, so that you, beloved ones, will find that the rewards for your service, while they may indeed, as Morya has told you, be more service, you will also find that there will be a mounting momentum of more love descending upon you, and the charge of the infinite light that will be bestowed upon you will be more than compensatory for the expenditure of the energy and the devotion poured forth from your heart. Beloved ones, I address you this afternoon in the holy name of God, for and on behalf of the mothers of the earth who have implored the Most High God to take command and dominion over those recalcitrant youths which are presently manifesting upon earth, who will not obey their parents, who will not obey the laws of society, who have rebelled against organized government and those forms of law and order which are necessary for the establishment of nations and peoples upon earth. Beloved ones, I want to tell you that it is not entirely the fault of these children, for many of them are spirits rebellious, who in previous ages themselves were bound in chains because of the conditions which they did at that time spew out and spawn upon the face of the earth. They are understandably then, quite naturally, rebellious spirits, having possessed a momentum of a laggard civilization of the past in an unusual fashion and form. They need your assistance, your love, and your light, and your understanding far more than they need your criticism. Beloved ones, if you will go with the movement in which they are moving, not spiritually, but by recognition of their inadequacies, and will then recognize that they themselves are seeking the very self-same extension of divinity which you so well adore, you will then understandably have patience with their life streams, and rather than pour your attention upon their inadequacies, criticize them, downgrade them, degrade them, or furthermore cause them to suffer as the result of your wrong thought, you will lend your assistance to their life streams by a especially devoted manifestation of prayer to God for their life streams, for their illumination, for their perfection, for their enlightenment, and for their salvation ultimately. Beloved ones, it is one thing to deal with a saint from a previous embodiment, and quite another thing to deal with one who has rebelled against all law and reason and been in chains as was Barabbas. Beloved ones, when you deal with those individuals, such as the dying thief upon the cross, who have for embodiment after embodiment obtained a momentum of discord, generated even to the point of rebellion against the deity, you must understand that a great balm is necessary to heal the wounds in the psyche of the rebellious one. Somewhat as a mad dog, these individuals are apt to bite you if you do not watch and handle them with care. Beloved ones, your love can reach them when your hands cannot. Your love can pass through walls of substance erected by mankind. Your love is a tangible flame. Your love is more tangible than this flame blazing here in this chalice. Beloved ones, as I speak to you then today, I shall not speak long, but I shall speak to charge you again with the responsibility which was brought to your attention by beloved Kuan Yin last evening. And I implore you, therefore, that in view of this understandable situation, and inasmuch as more and more of this type of individual is coming into embodiment, you must recognize the need in a so-called lawless world to continue established law and order, to respect the rights of governments and peoples, and to recognize the need for constitutions, for rules, and for those regulatory conditions which man and society have imposed upon one another. Therefore, beloved ones, America must continue to expand the flame of freedom to the earth. Those communist elements which have infiltrated American society and are yet standing in some high posts in government must be exterminated absolutely by the intense concentration of the violet flame and the calls for light into the heart of America as a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Beloved ones, I hesitate to think what will happen to this great nation unless the mankind of earth shall recognize their sovereign responsibility to maintain that form of democratic freedom which was established by the Constitution of the United States and which has for over 200 years sustained this great nation. Beloved ones, therefore I urge you now to recognize the full intensity of my appeal, and I, as your knight commander, urge you to do two things: to work for the youth of America and the world in your services of love and devotion, to work also for the good of this nation and for the holy cause of freedom. Beloved friends of light, I shall not be absent from the meeting tonight. I shall attend when Morya addresses you, and I shall give you a special radiation of my presence of a greater intensity than has been poured out during this entire class. However, I do not intend to speak, but I intend to pour out my radiation. Beloved ones, you do not know, I may even be in the audience unseen by you, or perhaps felt by many of you in a manner you have not realized hitherto is possible. I shall come, for I love you all. I love you with a devotion that is perhaps difficult to explain to you in words, but I think that tonight, after Morya has addressed you, and when the time comes for you to receive the benediction of the angel Deva of the Jade temple, that you shall understand more of my devotion for you individually and for mankind and for the holy flame of freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, gracious people of divine service, I thank you for your attention upon the light, for your service which you have given so unstintingly of, and for the greatness which you have evoked out of the flame of your own heart. May God be with you in all that you do. I thank you and bid you good afternoon.
in charity the Christ, we in almighty presence of God, gift of life so supernal, praise to the Elohim, their victory won. God is sublime, God is sublime, send out thy light and thy truth to all mankind, lift every child of God by cosmic might, send out thy light and thy truth to all mankind, charge every child of God with cosmic light, from each one's holy Christ, so cosmic light is unfolding, praise to the central sun eternally.
Let there be light. I am the goddess of light. The magnificent range of expanding light is now before me, and I charge this light in its glorious momentum with the full complement of the rainbow rays and the colors thereof into your world, to bring you the peace which God desires to see each one of you have, that you might retain that peace in the chalice of your immortal consciousness. Beloved ones, as I speak to you today, my first desire is to bring you some instruction concerning the whereabouts of your identity. Your identity, beloved ones, is in the heart of God. Men ask this question, where God is. Let them understand that in God all things are, and that all things that are visible, that were made, which are in God, are but a portion of that infinite radiance that is the light itself, from whence sprung all of creation into manifestation and beauty. You then, beloved ones, are in the heart of God as an individualized being, and you are upon earth as an individualized being. You are simultaneously dwelling in the great macrocosmic heart of God and dwelling upon the microcosmic speck of light in the sea of light, universes without end, which you call the planet Earth or Terra. Known by other names, it continues to hum around the beautiful orbital path of light, gracing the solar system in our consciousness as a shining diamond of light. It does not matter what human concepts of this earth are. We continue to hold, and will do so, the immaculate concept for this beautiful earth. I am come then this day also to instruct you concerning density. Beloved ones, mankind ought to think on the quality of light at this moment, for I have some knowledge of the subject. Light, beloved ones, seems to be blocked by opaqueness, so much so that when you have a window and pull down the shade, if the shade be composed of substance which blocks the penetration of the light, it does not pass through. And so, beloved ones, the question that may enter your heart is, what of the great cosmic light? Well, beloved ones, the great cosmic light is unaffected by those densities of human consciousness or of the fabric of human realities, steel, stone, bricks, mortar, and matter. Substance do not stop the penetration of the great cosmic light, for the great cosmic light passes through them as easily as a hot knife through butter. Beloved ones, you must then understand that it is this light the light of God that does not fail, which must enter into the chalice of your being. Physical light embodies a portion of the solar radiance and is so necessary to the manifestation of health. The bathing beaches of the world, beloved ones, are lined with those who seek some solace from the solar lords through the heart of beloved Helios and Vesta, and find some rewards in the tanning of their skin and the absorption of the healing rays of the sun. But, beloved ones, those who are wise and perceptive, as they do lay upon the sand of earth to absorb the heat of the sun and its radiance, will also make the call for an intensified radiation of the light of God that does not fail, to blaze through from the sun behind the sun, that they may absorb that light, which light is the light of the world. I am the light of the world, was the fiat spoken by your beloved Jesus. It is a significant moment, beloved ones, when I comment upon it, for it is as though a trumpet were sounding in the souls of my auditors. For when you realize that I am the light of the world did not apply solely to the Christ himself manifesting in Jesus, but applies also to the present day, to you individually, you will realize that it is your I am presence, the glorious light of your own being, which quite uniquely, beloved ones, bestows upon the world the personal keynote of your own existence, passing through the screen of qualification located within your own heart of being. The light of God that does not fail takes on a specific quality and radiation all your own, a signatory keynote, one that no one can duplicate. And therefore you are uniquely yourself, beloved ones, created of the same substance as the ascended Jesus Christ, and as I am created of. You individually are destined to be, as we are, ascended, God-free beings. And therefore I have chosen to speak to you today upon density, beloved ones, the density of your own sphere. Your sphere, beloved ones, seems to impede the progress of the great light. Beloved ones, it is not necessary that that great light of God be impeded, for human thought and feeling have effectively cut mankind off from the great inflowing radiance that is the divine self, the solar radiance. This is because men have free will. Set aside then with me this afternoon your free will, and let us see if we can increase the flow of light into the world. If you feel that you do not need it, beloved ones, then recognize that the world does need it, and act as channels for the channeling of this light into the world of form, that the world be blessed thereby. Since this class begun, beloved ones, there has been a stepped-up tempo in all nature, the world around, because of the intense love and adoration poured out by the students in this small body by relative comparison to the great ascended host. There has ensued a dispensation of progress whereby the unfailing light of God, magnified by the angelic hosts, has chaliced through you into the world of form the spirit of joy and the spirit of radiance and the spirit of peace. One of your numbers recently was in California, where the smog was desperate, and where conditions of climate were exceedingly desperate, and made an invocation to the light to cause a change in the climate, a response occurred, and the showers came down, and the smog was released. Do you think, beloved ones, that what one individual can do by calling to their own mighty I Am presence is not also that which each one can do who will keep the same faith? Beloved ones, I am specifically interested in the quality of faith being chaliced into man's heart and then retained. I do not deny that it ought to be expanded, but it must be retained. You recognize, beloved ones, how Jesus continually admonished concerning the putting of wine into old bottles, or old bottles of skin, where the skins might easily rent and the wine be spilled out. It is necessary that men create new chalices in order to retain the vibratory action of the Spirit of God. And this is as easy as thinking itself. For if you will but call unto your own mighty I Am presence, God and you as co-creators will find no difficulty in fabricating a chalice of love surrounding your heart. This chalice of love will retain the faith required to do the necessary works in this day and age. Without faith, beloved ones, you would not be able to perform the services which you do. I would at this moment like to speak concerning your beloved messenger and ours, who is speaking to you. It is never his pleasure to have us mention him, but it is our desire to mention that without faith he would be unable to stand here, as he does, knowing not from 1 second to 1 second what specific quality will be spoken of, or what our words will be from moment to moment. He stands in the full faith that we shall continue to supply him with our words, thoughts, and vibratory actions, regardless of the thoughts and the changing feelings of those who may be in the audience. I then ask for constancy to the light, that each one of you will hold your attention upon the light of God, rather than the outer form of the one through whom I am speaking. For it is essential that people recognize that it is the light of God that animates all life and substance, but the specific quality of the higher octaves is channeled through the few, for a specific reason, that it requires in many cases tremendous service at inner levels and a protection that is almost infinite. Beloved ones, I wish to express gratitude on behalf of the hierarchy for the service of protection that you have afforded this live stream. There was a recent attack made upon him from psychic levels which threatened to remove him from the screen of life, so that this class would not have even found his presence here. Because of the faith and the endeavors of many of you in this audience, this did not happen, and he is therefore here with you by the power of our light and the love which you have poured out. I wish to express gratitude to you on behalf of Morya and those members of the great karmic board who have supported him in this mission of service to the earth in the name of light and in the name of the God of light. I am the goddess of light, and it is extremely interesting to those of you who serve to know that there is a fruit to the calls that you make. Sometimes, beloved ones, you seem to be working in a sense of obscurity. The thought occurs to your consciousness, do my calls accomplish anything? Well, beloved ones, this is but a manifestation of the grossness of human density. It is not a manifestation of light. It is not a manifestation of the diamond shining mind of God. It is not a manifestation of purity and faith. And therefore you must shed this idea. For thoughts are things, beloved ones, and when you retain in consciousness the seeds of discord by considering for even a moment that your calls are not answered, you are not recognizing the eternal truth which declares that the call always compels the answer. And because the call always compels the answer. Mankind must accept in advance the answer to the call on the instant. They must recognize when they give the call that it is already fulfilled at inner levels. It is simply then a matter of lowering the perfect pattern into perfection and manifestation. Beloved ones, the full faith in these calls which you require is in the heart of your own mighty I Am presence. It remains and is retained there, as are all other good and gracious gifts, for release into your worlds in answer to your call. You then, who are the authority for your world, must make your calls, sustain your faith, and perform those services of the divine priesthood which make of every man and woman a priest in the temple of their own being, and a high priest in the temple of their own being, as well as an ordinary priest. Do you see, beloved ones, you as an individual are a priest in the temple of being. Your holy Christ self in the temple of being is your high priest, who makes intercession for you to the very heart of your own mighty I Am presence. And therefore there is a definite gradation and division of consciousness. But its purpose is to raise you up into the fullness of your own God identity, so that there will no longer be any gradation or drop in potential, but all of that which is below will be as is that above. Do you see then, beloved ones, how necessary it is that you retain the full faith in God, that that act specifically shall be fulfilled in the fullness of time? Beloved ones, it has been called to your attention before, but I desire to call it to your attention once again, that there is a cosmic moment. Call it a psychological moment if you will. Call it by any name you choose. But there is a moment when victory is obtained. Previous to that moment, beloved ones, you may appear to be in a state that is less than grace. But when that moment comes and the fullness of time is fulfilled, it is as though the sun had just passed over the eastern horizon and the new day had begun. For, beloved ones, at that precise moment, the activity of your victory is fulfilled. Previous to that hour, it is still night, and shadows may enclose the situation. I specifically speak of those who are seeking spiritual healing. Beloved ones, just because perfect health has not manifested at a specific moment does not mean that it will not manifest, for it will manifest in accordance with the great cosmic law. You must recognize that healing is fulfilled in some cases instantaneously, and in other cases it requires a specific time during which it is as though the healing were in a period of gestation, waiting to be born, to be fulfilled, to manifest. You then, beloved ones, must never be distressed, but must remain constant to God and in full patience. There is always this condition which we sometimes regret very, very much, and it is this, that an individual will call for a specific condition to be amended or rectified, for a specific healing, and then they will again call, and their calls will finally obtain a state of momentum. Then, just before the manifestation is to occur, they will quite suddenly lose faith in the call and stop all their action altogether. And therefore, the release of that manifestation, which would have occurred in some cases within a day or even an hour, does not occur simply because they do not continue. I therefore wish to call this to your attention because it is a vital point in spiritual knowledge. Some of you will recognize today that I am bringing to you light on the path. This is my desire. I am bringing to you spiritual illumination, worded instruction calculated to inspire you, to give you greater faith, to keep you constant to the pursuits of divine life, and to see that you recognize all the foregoing information channeled to you by the great ones who have addressed you previously. is utilized by you to the fullest extent which the divine law itself requires, you are now recipients of the grace of God bestowed upon you by ascended beings. Our love has been lavished upon you throughout this class. I therefore say to you, it shall continue to pour out, and it shall not end or terminate with the end of this class. For the momentum which you have picked up here, if you yourselves will feed it by your continuous attention upon God, will gain momentum until you will find that you are entering into a greater state of divine life, peace, harmony, and love. This is as it should be, for light on the path is necessary, but appropriation of that light is more necessary. Beloved ones, some individuals are given a phrase by some great master. This phrase, which is a symbolism to them, is given to them, and they meditate upon that symbol or phrase for a period of time. Some individuals have made outstanding spiritual progress by simply one sentence of spiritual instruction. You, beloved ones, have been given volumes of spiritual instruction, and I think that in view of that instruction that has been poured out, you sometimes feel as though you wonder why you have not already made your ascension. Well, beloved ones, the reason for that is that while you have the worded instruction and do study it, it is not always fully applied, and you do not fully recognize the specific moment when you ought to apply the specific instruction. Beloved ones, do not be distressed about this. Do not in any case have the slightest fear about it. All I am trying to do this afternoon is try to instruct you in the importance of using a greater degree of the instruction that has been given to you. We do not expect you to be able, in your present state, to immediately bridge the gap between the human and the divine and to be an ascended being, but we do expect you to use the time we have given to you as wisely as possible, that you will thereby gain a spiritual momentum and maintain it when you are not in a focus such as this. By so doing, the charge in these meetings will increase, and the numbers of individuals who will be drawn here and magnetized by your great love will increase. Why do you think, beloved ones, there are more people in this class than in any previous class that has been held in this room? Beloved ones, it is because of the great love radiance poured out by the chelas to the great ones, and because of the returning current. Continue now with the momentum which you have gained, and expand the light of the world. Expand it in your own individual force fields. Expand it where you are. Expand it everywhere. And thus the body of God shall gain momentum upon this planet, and hope shall rise in the hearts of men, and men shall be buoyed up on wings of hope, until much of the grief that presently is plaguing humanity will be assuaged by the mighty hand of God in action through the spiritually esoteric, well-governed body of God-loving individuals upon this planet who are willing to continue their service and not stop short of the mark. Beloved ones, exhortation is not always my forte, and yet I have felt inspired today to throw light upon your path, not only because of the wondrous title bestowed upon me by the great karmic board of the Goddess of Light, but because of the present need of the hour, and therefore I have given worded instruction. I desire now to amplify the quality of light in your midst. I desire to see an increase in the light that is within you. I desire to step up the spiritual radiance of those individuals who have in their own blessed desire came here seeking more light and assistance to their life stream. Beloved ones, now I desire you to think for a moment as to where you are. Where are you, beloved ones, in the universe? In your physical form, I think not. So familiar is the territory around you that you become bound, as it were, to the physical form. This I understand, for I lived for so long in one physical body. I suffered from overconfidence in my spiritual attainment. Many of you are familiar with the story, hence I shall not relate it in its fullness. But, beloved ones, it is necessary that you break the bond and shatter the picture of your identity outwardly, and let the light, the candle of being that is within the picture, shine forth into the camp of the very enemy, that the last enemy that shall be destroyed, which is death, may perish utterly by a burst of spiritual light which will immortalize many sons of God. Beloved ones, I then would speak to you of the beauty of spiritual spheres. You are accustomed to your physical form, to its rhythms. You are accustomed to the power of energy flowing through your nervous system and your muscular system. You, beloved ones, probably do not recognize that even the musculoskeletal frame is itself endowed with the power of light in calcinated form. Beloved ones, I would like then to tell you that this body in which you dwell is but a temple. I realize that you understand this, but I desire to mention it for a specific reason. You, beloved ones, utilize energy. You reach your hand out because you desire to do so. You extend your hand, you move your fingers, or you wiggle your toes, beloved ones, at will. You close your eyes at will. You open them at will. You move about freely, and you move in the atmosphere of earth, and you move according to certain established and comfortable rhythms. Well, beloved ones, you also have a concept of your being as of a certain size, dimension, and form. You think of yourselves as confined to this body prison, to this house of clay. Beloved ones, I am now requesting you to think in a different fashion the remainder of this meeting. Suddenly, I ask you to no longer recognize this room. I ask that you no longer recognize the world. I ask that you no longer shall recognize a specific place where being exists. Suddenly, you are in a great sphere of light. This light is a globe of light of infinite size. You no longer dwell upon the planet in a form. You are a formless pattern. You desire to expand the arms of your being, and light flows out from you in no established pattern, but a beautiful rhythm of perfection. You flow. You no longer are in physical embodiment. You desire to go to the other side of the sphere, and suddenly the allness of you moves without impediment through this great sphere of being, and in infinite freedom you find that you are swimming in a sea of illimitable light and loveliness. You hear tones of such beauty and exquisite compassion that your very being is moved by the power of divine love. The hues of the rainbow, iridescent mother of pearl, loveliness surrounds you in liquid light, flowing everywhere. There is a supreme radiance of your being. Suddenly you recognize the presence of others in this vast sea of light. Other identities, loving arms reach out to touch your arms. Eyes of light, dazzling light meet your eyes. Blazing love comes and flashes before you. It is as though you were in an aquarium of light, and you realize that you have entered the age of Aquarius. You realize that you have entered the age of the bearing of men's burdens, where all life flows to assist all life. You realize the great balancing action of divine love. You realize the power of victory over death and over impediments. You suddenly recognize that light is everywhere, that there is no obstacle to the movement of you. You flow in a sense of infinite joy and loveliness. The thought occurs to your minds, why have I not experienced this before in all of its present glory? Beloved ones, have you tried? Some have. Some have experienced before the wonders of this sensation of divinity, this overpowering sense of the allness of God as light, and the allness of identity as mingling and commingling with the light. You are no longer then individuals separated from God and one another. You are identified with the ocean of being, and in this ocean, borne by currents of divine love, you recognize that the shining sea conveys you to a realm of purity and perfection over which you have dominion. You recognize that you may turn and go back to the other side of the sphere, or rise upward or downward. You may move in all directions freely. You are unimpeded. Beloved ones, this is my desire this afternoon, to convey to you the sense of infinite freedom which is yours when not confined to the physical form. There are those, beloved ones, who fear the change that they call death. They fear to lose their physical form. Beloved ones, I would not urge you to terminate your present life here for any reason. This would be a violation of karmic law. But I would urge you to find the power of your infinite freedom, the locomotion of the Spirit that declares, I am here and I am there, and lo, it is so. Beloved ones, your Saint Germain desires to express his love to you today, and therefore I am going to continue my dissertation on light while you remain in the consciousness of the great sphere of infinite love and light. Light, beloved ones, how wonderful it is. Let us now take the pure white light and pass it through a triangular prism. A prism, beloved ones, is a word whose roots seem related to the word prison. Beloved ones, this is the way light expresses upon earth. It shines through the human prison and becomes confined in matter where it cannot escape. We therefore desire to pass light through the eternal triangle of God, the love, wisdom, and power of God, and from it emerges upon this planet, according to Logoi, the great spectrum of the solar radiance, the 7 beautiful rainbow rays with all of their subtleties, and the translucence, opalescence of their coloring is revealed to you as the language of immortality. Light everywhere, light. Light is the victor then over all shadow and shadowed enclosures. Beloved ones, when Jesus himself was in the tomb awaiting the moment of the resurrection, these thoughts concerning light were the first flash to his consciousness. And by the power of the light, fanned by Serapis and others of the sacred fire, he began the process of reanimating and re-energizing his blessed heart. He surrounded it with a great globe of light from the higher spheres. And this globe of light caused the sacred fire to bring physical warmth to that heart. Then he expanded that globe of light still more. For, beloved ones, those who have returned from the dead in various experiences know full well that the agonizing sensations of such a return, when the physical bloodstream is reanimated, is so terrible as to be undesired by mankind. And therefore, to avoid this sensation, beloved Jesus was enfolded in these great globes of light, so that the body temperature was brought up gradually, and gradually, until he was surrounded in a great sphere of light. Then this light reanimated and reactivated that heart, which begun to surge with the power of renewed vitality and life. And lo, the word was fulfilled, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Light is the answer, beloved ones. Spiritual light is the answer, O my beloved. Spiritual light is the trumpet of the resurrection. It declares to each life stream, you live because I live. Beloved ones, in the light of God is the hope of mankind. I am the goddess of light. Reverently now then, fold your hands, beloved ones, in this manner. Summon the great allness of you from this radiant sphere of light. Gradually recognize that you are drawing the divine radiance down into your physical form in memory of the resurrection hour of beloved Jesus. The light condensing around you forms a pearl, a giant pearl higher than your head, in which you sit in the center. This pearl is iridescent with the rainbow rays of God. You are in a pearl of great price. You are in a miniature replica of universal cosmos, the great central sun, extended first into infinite capacity and then reduced to individualized being in a dual relationship between God and man. Truly ye are the children of the light. Truly ye are the children of God. Truly ye are sons and daughters of the Most High God. Truly reality has manifested here. You are in the pearl of being, the jewel from the heart of God, in the infinite lotus of living faith. I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. I thank you and bid you good afternoon.